All right, on today's episode, we have a guy in a hot house with a hole in his shirt that gets progressively larger throughout the course of a day. And he is going to be working with fire today because, for whatever reason, he manages to always find the people that prefer he works with fire in their home. All those people that want to save money with the plastic pipes never seem to call him. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. The guy is me. I've always been the guy this whole time. And you can see that hole forming right in the armpit of the shirt there. The pipe falls out of the ceiling for no reason. And the more that I get drenched in sweat, the more that the shirt starts to tear. Coupled with being slightly overweight and lifting my hands over my head, it's a recipe for disaster. But I mean, it could be worse. I could be pouring lead joints for all of the drains and doing this. Or I could be an electrician. That would suck. Nobody would take me seriously. Actually, the electrician stopped by today, asked if anything was in my way. I've just been cutting his shit out. And look at that hole now. I'm the epitome of a guy that's losing his shirt on this job. Let me tell you. Call it a day then, though. Somebody asked me recently what I like better, service or new construction. And the answer is, I don't like either. I'd rather play golf. But if you want to know which one makes you a better plumber, the answer is both. When you're doing service, you run across problems in people's houses and you go, what dipshit installed this? And when you're doing new construction, you are the dipshit. And with that self-awareness, you try a little harder to make your work a little more serviceable. Now, we're doing all copper on this job. We're doing sweat copper because the customer didn't want ProPress and he didn't want PEX. He has over a dozen houses, and I'm barely holding on to the one that I own, so who am I to question him? I think he's a much smarter guy than me. Now, when you're running all PEX, it doesn't really matter what you do. I don't need to defend my point on that. You already know it's true. Zip tie it to the electrician's wires and don't put a nail through it and you're good. But copper takes a little bit of tact. It takes a little bit of planning. What I typically like to do is make sure that all of my lines pitch back to a drain. I don't like to install any sort of bellies. Everything comes back down to the point where you're going to drain it out. So if you do need to fix anything in the house, you can drain all the water out of it easily. I know many plumbers have not shown me the same courtesy. But that's neither here nor there. Got a ton of work to do here. Still got to do a boiler, baseboards, finish the HVAC, couple shower valves. But there we go. Drains are in. Everything flows back. Crawl space done. Second floor done. What do you think is the most common mistake that a plumber makes? Well, I'll tell you, one time I left my truck in park and went inside of a building and it drove itself off the side of a cliff. Another time I put a screw through a pipe in a second floor condo and flooded the entire downstairs unit. Another time I dug up all the concrete in somebody's garage looking for a pipe that wasn't there. But it all pales in comparison to the biggest mistake that a plumber can make. And statistically, it's the most common one. That's right, you know what I'm talking about. Accidentally switching the hot and cold lines. Because it not only makes you look like a fool, but it makes all the future plumbers installing faucets look like fools too. It's generations upon generations of shameful callbacks to do the most basic bullshit while also looking like an absolute turd. Which is why it's important on every project to go back and double check to make sure that you got it right. Hot's on the left, cold's on the right. I have a tattoo of an L on my left leg to keep me from screwing it up. It also helps me get my shoes on the right way in the morning, but that's besides the point. All in all, the moral of the story is to double check your work. And if you catch it before the finish, then you get to put something ugly like this behind the wall. There we go. Fresh coat of sheetrock, cover that right up. All right, we're doing another sewer line today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this was actually part of like a renovation, new construction, remodel. It was a small house, now it's a big house. You get the idea. Pretty much a fresh start because nothing wound up where it was before. Except for the existing sewer line that was outside. Now, what you're not seeing in this video is how we spent half the morning looking for this pipe because they thought they had found it when they dug up the foundation for the other side of the house. They took some pictures and they assumed that it came out on an angle and then turned and went out to the street, which was not the case. It went out on an angle and it stayed on an angle the whole way. So in doing this job in the first place, I pretty much broke my golden rule of never listen to anybody about where they say the pipes are. Been down that road too many times, but we did finally find it. So instead of coming out on a 45 and catching it going straight out to the road, we had to go and catch it on a kind of weird angle. It would be too much to ask somebody to install a pipe at an angle that I have a fitting for. You know what I'm saying? But it worked out. Nice little offset there. We got the pipe in. We got to clean out there. We got a 45, clean out over there. Let Joshy do the Karnak. I'm too cool for that. A little bit of sand for the bed, and it looks pretty good. Now, I tried to do one of those level sliding videos, but I don't know. I need some new bubbles for this thing. I'll have Joshy get it later. Now, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to use this camera. It's got a weird name. It's like an Amazon deal or something. So once Bobby fills this in, by the way, Bobby's Brewery is open, Esker Hart in High Bridge, New Jersey. Got to give him the plug. So anyway, I got this camera out, and, you know, it ain't bad. It's got a pretty clear picture. It's kind of a pain in the ass reeling it out. Maybe it's just because I'm sitting on top of a pile of dirt, but I was able to find some roots and stuff in the line that's existing. A couple of suspicious areas. I think that we're going to wind up having to dig the rest of this thing all the way out to the road. Because I don't know if I want to leave it like that. Anyway. It's crazy that every vitamin and supplement in the market today will make your penis bigger. They never say it outright. They just sort of imply it in the verbiage of their advertisements. You know, like, doesn't matter what it's for. Somehow a vitamin for your kidney health is the key to a bigger wang. But I guess it's a statement on how we care for our own personal health. Sort of a cheap ploy, if you ask me. Anyway. So, I was in the vitamin store the other day, just picking up a couple of things, and I came across something that I thought was strange. I picked up a bottle of Flintstone chewable multivitamins. Big picture of Fred Flintstone on the front of it. And I'm like, the Flintstones has not been on in like 60 years. You know what I'm saying? You think about it, and it's like, how much work was it to make an animated TV show in the 1960s? All the planning and hard work that they poured into it just to be outperformed by a shitty fucking chewable vitamin? I mean, I know there's been all kinds of spin-offs, and maybe they're just like iconic characters like the Looney Tunes and stuff like that. But I can't think of a single thing off the top of my head that has been nearly as successful in the Flintstones empire as the multivitamin. And even weirder than that, they never told anybody that they make your dick bigger. You know? Some days you need a little stress relief. And nothing's a better stress reliever than hitting things with a hammer and breaking them. Today we're doing punch list items. We got to get rid of this old sewer pipe. We ran a new one already, which means smashing it to pieces and cementing over the hole. I'm going to be taking out the fresh air vent from the house trap. And I was asked by the guy who's doing the air conditioning rough if I could put a 2-inch pipe in there for him to run his line set. I'm happy to oblige him. It's not going to take me much more to do it. So I packed the holes with some bricks, and then I had Joshy clean the floor so we could skate a little bit inside. Like I said, you got to get your stress out somehow. And since I am the most famous concrete finisher on this app, you can expect that this is going to be perfect. Put a little patch job here on the wall, and I actually found another hole. I figured I'd just patch that one too. We got nail plates going in. Sheetrockers are just going to rip them off anyway. I got to put a clean out in on the tub, because I realized with this stupid Kohler waste and overflow, I'm not going to be able to test the tub separate from the drains. And maybe we'll skate a little more. Maybe a lot more. I don't know. Me and Joshy played a game of skate. I won. Obviously, it was a little bit embarrassing. We could only get to 3 letters before we ran out of tricks. Next, we're Tefloning all our cleanouts. We got all our plugs in. We're getting ready for inspection. And it looks pretty good to me. We got all our PVC, copper. I don't think I missed anything. 2 roof penetrations going to go in tomorrow. And everything in the basement is pretty much done. Hope my drains don't fail. Now, I figured I'd fill my tub up before I left so I could let everybody know that it's ready to be pissed in. Anyway, see you on the next one.